Views on the market. Expect a 20 to 30% return from India. That's the word coming in from market guru Mobius, who's betting big on the Indian markets. As part of our ongoing series Asian Tigers, he spoke exclusively with CNBC TV 18's Nimesh Shah. Listen in to what they had to say.
Because we've had 3 years of underperformance for emerging markets. If you look at performance of the index, emerging markets index, you'll see it's underperformed the US market, it's underperformed the world market for 3 years. And of course, that has resulted in a net outflow of funds from emerging markets dedicated funds. So now we're beginning to see a turning point where money is coming back in to the emerging markets arena. And that includes not only equities, but also fixed income.
So at 6.5%, do you think the commodities have bottomed out, or do you think there is still a scare coming out of China for the commodity markets?
I think commodities have begun to bottom out. And the reason why is if you look at the projects in the pipeline, I mean, when commodities were flying high, all the major mining companies were engaged in multi-billion-dollar projects planning. Now, most of those have been canceled. So in terms of supply going forward, you're going to see a much, much lower level. That's number one. And number two, a lot of the prices have gone far beyond what is economically viable.
Okay. So will this be a good time to look at Indian metal companies? Because, you know, a lot of the stocks have corrected so sharply, while they have rebounded off late, but still they are at very cheap valuations. Is this a time to now look at Indian metal stocks?
Oh, definitely. There's no question. Okay. There are a lot of commodity stocks that should be looked at. Those with, of course, low cash costs, with very good reserves that are easily accessed, that makes a lot of sense.
So broadly, I know you've been bullish on emerging market equities, you've been bullish on India as well. Right now, at these levels of Nifty in the markets, what's your view? How much can India outperform, at least in the next 12 to 18 months?
I think you can see 20–30% outperformance in India, because there are a lot of things going on that are quite interesting. If you look at exports from India, for example, of not only the hard goods like oil products, that sort of thing, but software exports have been booming. So I think there's a very good chance of outperformance of that level. The other thing to remember is that if Modi is able to get these reforms, particularly tax reform, in place, that would be a big boon for the economy.
I know you've been a big fan of the RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan. He cut rates recently by 25 basis points and also announced some liquidity measures. In this, if India is going to see a declining rate cycle, how are you looking to play the rate-sensitive sector stocks in India?
Well, that's very, very critical, because India, if you're looking at emerging markets generally, India rates are relatively high, and that has inhibited rapid growth. More rapid growth. Well, India is growing at a good pace, but it has inhibited the economy. So this effort to lower rates is very good news for everybody. And of course, those who are, heavily indebted, those are the ones that we're going to be benefiting the most.
If I want to ask you a bit macro and about India's growth prospects, what sort of growth you see over the next couple of years? And there is this big dialogue about, can India grow faster than China in the next couple of years from now? You think that's a reality, that India can grow faster than China, maybe say in the next couple of years from now?
Yes, I think India will grow faster than China, for a number of reasons. First of all, you're starting from a lower base.
Yeah.
You see, in China, 10% in 2010 was a lot less than 7% in last year.
Sure.
Because the base has gotten much bigger. And in the case of India, you have a much smaller base than China. So the growth prospects are much, much greater. And I would not be surprised to see India growing at 8, 9, even 10%, provided these reforms are put in place. Could be very exciting.
All right, well, you can catch that entire conversation, very interesting conversation that Nimesh had with Mobius at these times only on CNBC TV 18.